Here we are in the second floor conference room. We'll start with introductions.
Alderman at Large, Kevin Stunek.
Kelly Mashi, Weisner Engel Insurance.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
Jennifer Bergman, City Administrator.
Jim Sadomka, Weisner Engel Insurance.
Tim Holmes with the Brainerd Fire Department.
Mike Costello, Chief of Police.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
Gabe Johnson, Chair of the Committee. We have 12 items to knock out in the next 45 minutes. The first item is League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust Premium Renewal, March 2021 through February 22.
So we have Kelly and Jim here. I'll let them take it over.
Yeah, I'm Jim Sadomka with Weisner Engel Insurance, and Kelly handles the account. I'm the agency principal here in the Brainerd office, and we're excited to be here in person and all that good stuff as well.
And this is Tiffany. This is our other member of the committee.
And Weisner Engel is actually in 2021 celebrating our 100th anniversary. So we're gonna cruise through this deal, and we've been with the city and partnered with the League of Minnesota since 1985. So it's been a long relationship, and we really appreciate that. We're just gonna review the insurance renewal here at a high level. The premium increased $11,736, or about 3%. Last year, the city from the league received a dividend of $25,941. So you get money back if the league performs well and the city performs well. Included in that increase is we added 11.6 million of premium of property coverage to a total of 168 million of property insurance, including there's a couple new properties located. We've increased the autos by 2, including a new fire truck this year. And then full-time employees went from 121 down to 115. We also added coverage for the hydro dam if it were to burst or fail, up to $1.5 million, and that wasn't previously on the policy. So
What would the 1.5 million cover? If that thing explodes, it's going to cost a heck of a lot more than that.
exactly, but
That's the minimum
that's
coverage.
that's a start.
That's
You
our
want to
liability
increase it to
only.
like 10 million or what?
Well,
But overall, for $12,000, there's a lot of value there.
yeah.
But yeah, there is a couple optional coverages that we just wanted to put in front of you guys. One is currently the city does not have an umbrella coverage, and it's a $1 million for $1 million umbrella, which would cover if there was a lawsuit. You're currently following statutory limits on that policy which is $500,000 per person if there was a lawsuit against the city, and $1.5 million total per occurrence. And this would increase those limits by $1 million. If you did that, it's $30,690 for the additional.
So why would we want to do that? I mean, because if right now, if we are the state, I mean, if it's the different types of claim, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so why would we want additional coverage if people think, oh, we'll just sue the city because they have deep pockets?
Right.
Wouldn't we have to be doing a disservice if we increase that liability?
Potential, I mean, typically they sue for policy limits. That's very normal. However, with the wake of what's going on in Minneapolis and stuff, and seeing some of those settlements, 500,000 isn't gonna go very far. That would be and my concern about what's going on there and some of the way those are being settled and stuff like that.
And those claims aren't necessarily limited by the state statutory. The
Right.
type of claim it isn't limited by the
Right.
state statute.
Right.
Okay.
Right, but in that situation, we were talking $27 million settlement.
Exactly. That's not going to be right.
Even $1 million isn't really going to get us there.
No, you're exactly right. So it's totally up to you guys. And then the other thing, primary auto liability for employees when you're in a city vehicle, and it'd be up to $2 million coverage, and it was only $97 a year. And so if you're in a city vehicle and you're running a personal errand, it would cover you from that standpoint.
So say Connie runs the bank,
So
drops out a
Connie
deposit
runs-
and picks up a
then- and then
prescription on
goes
the
and
way,
picks- Exactly.
she's covered, and that's
Then
$97 a year.
$97 a year, right, so that seems like a no-brainer, but,
So I think we go without the excess million and we go with the
Okay.
audit.
and then the other thing we just brought, kind of ran, was to have the cyber liability. You're seeing somebody hacking into the computer systems and that type of thing. You can buy coverage for that, up to, we quoted $1 million, and it's running between 14 and 18,000 bucks, and we're just kind of talking about it today. I just want to put it out there.
Do you pay the people in Bitcoin for us?
Yeah.
They actually do, that's part of it. Ramps them up to yeah.
Yeah.
What do we have for coverage now as far as cyber liability?
So right now, it's first-party coverage through the league, and they're
Yeah.
saying they're gonna expand it.
Yeah, they're looking at expanding it, but I believe it's only up to like $200,000 for first party liability, like Jim was saying. So anybody that would be affected, through your PCA agreement of whatever it is you signed with them, there wouldn't be any coverage for that third party coverage.
Then back to the same question on people suing for policy limits. To ransomware, people look for cities with the biggest insurance coverage to payouts
Right.
for their paydays?
Well, they wouldn't know what the coverages are, but
Yeah.
they hit anybody and everybody,
Yeah. Yeah, and we did provide in your packet there, there's,
a couple of quotes. Yep.
yeah, there's a couple different quotes, and then there's some claim scenarios that are based on governmental entities of what type of claims could come up to, if you wanna look at that further, yeah.
Okay, so if we renew tonight, do you need decisions on these supplementals tonight?
No, not at all.
So let's, you guys take a look at it, bring it back to our next meeting on all this additional
And I
proposals.
think it'd be good to talk to Sean
Yeah.
about it too.
Right.
Connie, do you know if there's another insurance policy for the cyber?
I do not know off the top of my head.
And then the only other thing, we just got indications today on, for what they're looking at, next year's renewal for budget purposes,
Okay.
and that's included in there, so property's going up between 5% and 10%. Liability for cities with police departments will be 8 to 12.
So if we defund the police, the insurance goes down?
Exactly. And then,
Things are gonna happen.
Crime goes up.
I think other insurance rates go up.
yeah,
Water's gonna go up.
yep, auto 3 to 7, and then work comp is the big one, and that's potentially 20% increase because of the PTSD incidents.
And I think that in the agenda request, we put in there what we had budgeted for the city for 10 months and for transit versus what the renewal was, and you can see that we were under budget. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to be over budget for the city side and under for the transit, and that's because when we did the renewal this time, we broke it down better than what we have in years past. We had in our preliminary budget, we had a 7.5% overall increase. And then when we adopted our final budget, we went to a 5% increase. Well, and we're at a 3.3. So the difference is just basically allocating it better than we have in years past.
Okay, final question from me. The dam, that's paid for out of BPU funds, the fire department, that's paid for out of fire advisory funds. And every
Yeah.
department's covering its own
Yep.
insurance, right?
Yep.
Well, okay, any other questions?
No, I like the idea that it's coming back next, in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But we are already going to change for the optional vehicle.
We're gonna take the $97 vehicle and not do the $1 million
Yep.
excess liability.
Do we need a motion from this committee?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to do the $97 for the vehicle
And not the million.
and not the million.
Second.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second to accept the renewal premiums with adding the primary auto liability for employees and not adding the excess liability. Any discussion? One piece of discussion, we do have other possible options that are coming back in a couple weeks after the relevant department heads look at it.
For the cyber liability coverage.
Hearing no other discussion, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
Kelly,
it.
drive careful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming up. Thank you.
Thanks.
Helpers, I threw some pens and notepads there too. So.
We can't accept anything like that, I'm sorry.
I think we can accept things that small.
I'll take the pen is $5.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Nice to
Good
meet
to
you.
meet you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that looks like Minnesota statewide all hazard incident management organization cooperative agreement. Fire Chief Tim.
Thank you. So this first item is just kind of cleaning up some paperwork for the all hazard incident management team that I'm a part of. Just some history, the team started in 08 as a joint powers agreement. In 2019, the all hazard team changed management from the city of Bloomington to Anoka County. And through that, they discovered that they weren't really operating as a joint powers agreement organization. So they're proposing the change to move to this cooperative agreement. Just to kind of clean up how they're doing things and making sure that the appropriate insurance coverage covers all the participants in the organization. This cooperative agreement has been reviewed by the League of Minnesota Cities and also the County Insurance Trust, and they both agree that it's an okay document for the organization. So, yeah, this is just to adopt the attached resolution and approve the appropriate signatures on the cooperative agreement. If you have any questions.
Yeah, so it was a joint powers, it wasn't really operating correctly, so
They're just
moving on to this, and it's just easier for everybody to understand. how it
Yeah,
works
so when
together.
I joined in 2017 or 16, I did not, or Brainerd did not join as a joint powers. They just joined as a member of the team. So, and there's multiple organizations that way, so they're just trying to clean up. I think there's 50-some organizations that are all part of it, so they're just cleaning up the whole process.
And this is the organization that helps respond to hurricanes, floods, whatever you
Correct,
travel
yeah.
all over the
Yeah,
United
so it's
States.
the organization I went to Florida through, and also last year through the civil unrest helped out.
And is BPU part of this? Like, are our line crews part of this? Or they're a totally
It's a
different
separate
thing?
Separate. Yeah. It's part of the same request through the EMAC request, but this is an organization that would be requested through that process.
I think also what this really does is clarify the insurance question of who covers these people when they're out there, who covers the equipment, that kind of thing, where that's kind of always been an issue with some of the other joint entities or powers that we have. Sometimes it's always like, who's gonna cover the insurance? And this really lays it out, and I think does a really
So
very
when
beneficial.
we're fighting forest fires in Oregon, who covers the equipment?
If it's our equipment, it's our insurance
It's our
policy.
insurance.
If Tim is driving Oregon's fire equipment, it's Oregon's
Okay.
insurance. But Tim would still be under our workers' comp.
Mhm.
Ready? I'd make a motion to adopt the attached resolution and approve with appropriate signatures on the cooperative agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item is the sale of retired fire department equipment. Fire Chief Tim.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna run up to Safety and Public Works for the hearing.
No.
So,
What kind of hearing is it?
it's the
Dog.
thing.
Oh, I thought that was the last item on there.
It
That's
is the last,
7:15,
and I
that's
just
what I
got a
planned.
text that they're starting right now.
You talk about ducks too?
So, anyway, yeah. So my apologies if I.
Okay, we can take our sweet time.
Franchise agreement.
They'll be
Well, we up about
I
8.
suppose, yeah, Cheryl will keep going on that.
Okay. So this is just a request to sell some retired equipment. We've upgraded our UTV and trailer through the budgeting process. So we just have Kawasaki Mule and the trailer associated with that, and just a request to sell it on public auction.
What did you replace it with?
A Ranger, a larger, newer Ranger, and then we needed a larger trailer
Yeah.
for the larger
Okay,
vehicle.
and you're selling it on the public surplus?
Correct, yep.
What's it gonna be worth anyhow?
I don't know, it's probably a really good time to sell
If
it.
word gets out that there's a used side-by-side
Yeah.
for sale.
With tracks.
Yeah,
Is it a track?
should buy that
Oh,
sucker.
wow, yeah.
I'll buy it from you.
yeah.
Tell Chris
On
Van to
the
put it
public
on.
surface auction.
Yeah. So I think it's a really good time to actually get rid of something like that, so, yeah. And the other unit came about 3 months sooner than anticipated, so.
How the heck you do that?
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
how'd
They
players
just called
figure
one
that
day
out?
and said it'll be here tomorrow, so,
Like tomorrow?
no, like 2
Oh,
weeks ago.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the bill came through.
You better go lock the doors, 'cause people will steal them.
No, so.
All right, Tiffany?
I move to authorize the sale of that fire equipment using the public auction site.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
I
That motion
thought he
carries.
was trying to sell me his retired friend.
We'll keep you around for a while. Thank you very
God.
much.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
Do you want me at the live
I
or
don't think
online?
so.
It's fine.
I'm, yeah, if you just check in online in case somebody has a question, because I don't quite understand the cooperative agreement, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, I'll check in online.
Okay, next up is the approved promotion of deputy police chief position. And I think, and others, right?
There's actually two more.
Anyway, yeah, police chief
positions.
Mike.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Police and Fire Civil Service Commission completed the deputy chief testing process. The commission met on June 2nd to certify the results, and I think the attachments were attached.
Yeah, they are.
So, I am recommending that Sergeant John Davis be promoted to deputy police chief effective June 8th. And then pursuant to the employee policy manual, he should be placed on step 5 of the deputy police chief wage grid, which is $44.79 per hour. One of the other things, obviously, I came up with the Sergeant Davis being promoted, if so, would be creating an opening in patrol sergeant. Taking that experience off the street is, I think it's very important to get somebody back on the street too, with our young officers out there. And so on June 2nd as well, Police and Fire Civil Service Commission certified the updated police sergeant eligibility list, on which Joe Reed was ranked number 1. So recommending that Officer Joe Reed be promoted to sergeant effective June 8th to backfill Sergeant Davis's position, and pursuant to the employee policy manual, again, he should be placed in step 3 of the sergeant wage grid of $36.74 per hour.
So Mike, just to clarify, there was already a police sergeant eligibility list that was out there that was still good. That's why we didn't have to do a whole new posting and everything for that, because there was an existing list.
Per the rules, it's good for 2 years,
Correct.
Chris, can I do this all in one motion?
if you want to.
I do.
Okay.
Kevin? You can move the recommended action. I'll read it up.
I make a motion to recommend the promotion of Sergeant John Davis to deputy chief deputy police chief effective June 8th. And also I recommend the promotion of Officer Joel Reed to the police sergeant effective June 8th.
On steps 5 and 3.
Yes.
Respectively. Second.
We have a motion and a second. I just want to say it's excellent that we have an internal promotions on both of these positions, and I think it's great that the sergeant lists are good for 2 years, so we don't have to wait another month or 2 months. We can just move with it and get everybody in place, so
It works out really well.
this is good. Any other discussion?
When is the 2-year period up?
March of 2022.
Okay.
Trying to get on the list for the next round?
I can't, Tim retired me, so.
All right, hearing no other discussion, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Now we have retirement of police records management leads, Andre Anderson, police chief.
Yes. So, with regret, obviously, with Sandra Anderson. So, Police Records Management Lead Sandy Anderson submitted her letter of intent to retire on May 28th, 2021. Requesting her last day in the office would be July 30th, 2021, but to have her final day of employment as September 25th, 2021. The retirement of Sandra Anderson will leave the Police Records Management Lead position open, which will allow for the other qualified record management technicians an opportunity to be promoted within this time frame, and also to utilize Sandra Anderson's experience to assist with the training prior to her retirement, which is very beneficial with the intricacies of what she does. So the recommendation would be accept with regret the retirement of Police Records Management Lead Sandra Anderson, effective September 25th, and to authorize severance pay pursuant to the city policy, and further to authorize staff to backfill the position.
I move that we accept with regret her retirement and authorize the backfill of the position.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Chris, do you need us to authorize posting internally, or is this motion good enough to post it
I think
internally?
we already have a good idea, staff wants to do it internally. If you want to say the word internally up there, that's fine.
Well, if you don't need it, I'll just say we
Because
don't.
we aren't planning on going outside for this, or.
Okay,
Internal.
That's the best way.
that's the best way to promote and hire. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And police chief again on a community
Yeah.
service officer hiring
You're
ratification.
just cleaning house and hiring and doing whatever.
Just moving. So this one's actually a hiring ratification from 2 times ago, and this gets kind of bit, so we're all clear, is we have the intern in there. With that, prior to that, we have the authorization to backfill Andrew Lux, and so this is actually that replacement. So this, so Andrew Thielke actually started on May 24th for us, and he successfully passed his pre-employment screening process. And so on May 17th also, the last time we were here, it seems like every time we're here, but the starting pay was increased to $12 per hour. And again, I think that needs to be higher than that, but we'll come back at a later date in discussion with finance. And so what this would be is ratifying Andrew Thielke effective May 21st at the rate of $12.
And I so move.
Second.
How's that?
We have a motion, we have a second, and I just want to touch on the higher than $12 an hour. And I think you're absolutely right, so just don't forget it, and let's get it in the budget next year, or see where we're saving money with not having a full roster this year. Maybe we can move it up before that.
That would be when I come back, I think, to have that discussion, we'll look at it. Hiring process with probably external candidates, and wait for some CLC law enforcement students to come back and try to hopefully get that wage up prior to that, and be a little more with everybody else hiring at whatever wages, if we can grab some of them, more for the opportunity and still, have a decent wage.
Yeah, competitive wages and give them the work experience that they're looking for. Yeah. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item is approved promotion of Robert Anderson to street maintenance 2. Chris?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, police chief.
So included in the 2021 budget was the promotion of a street maintenance 1 employee to street maintenance 2. Last year, we had hired 3 individuals in that street maintenance 1 position. On May 3rd, the council authorized staff to conduct the promotional process. 2 individuals applied, and staff is recommending to promote Robert Anderson to street maintenance 2 effective July 1st. A little bit of background, Bob has actually been working for Brainerd for a little over 20 years. He was a Parks Department employee, and he was actually cross-trained at streets for several years. So really happy with what he's doing, and would like to promote him to street maintenance 2.
I move to approve the promotion of Robert Anderson to street maintenance 2 effective July 1st, and that he be placed at step 5.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, we have 2 franchise agreements. Jennifer was going to handle this. Connie, do you want to give a brief synopsis, or do you want me to attempt to do it?
Go for it.
Okay, so we have franchise agreements with our cable companies in town where we get 5% of their bills that come into the city for maintenance of right-of-ways, operating PEG channel, various things that are codified in federal law. We've got these agreements done. Joe has approved them. Their legal teams have approved them. They're now 10-year agreements. And the big improvement on this cycle is the agreements are the exact same. Our agreement with CTC is the same as our agreement with Charter, where it wasn't before, so that's a good bonus. But otherwise, this is just an extension of what we already have as a 5% franchise agreement.
Why did we go from 15 to 10?
I think because of how television and cable and everything is just changing so rapidly that we'll see what it looks like in 10 years.
Okay.
And what we do with this is, historically, we have, whatever we've collected, 50% has gone to Lakes Area Media Collaborative, and then we retain the other 50% in our general fund.
And I think that's what we're gonna continue to do, whether it's Media Collaborative or
Or some
something else, but we're gonna
organization.
identify some group to get the PEG channel going again and get some programming and get our meetings also on cable, because people who pay for cable ought to be able to watch our meetings on cable.
Ready?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the franchise agreement between the city of Brainerd and Consolidated Telephone Company.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Now we have the charter agreement too.
I move to approve the franchise agreement between the City of Brainerd and Spectrum Mid-America LLC.
We
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Discussion of parking lot lease with BNSF.
Yes. So, previously, the council gave us direction to pay it at a monthly lease. We got a call from BN saying that the lease agreement says we're supposed to pay them annually, and therefore we should be paying them annually. If we want to pay them monthly, we need to change the agreement. The agreement was last updated in 1999. So staff's recommendation is to pay the remaining portion of the lease from April 21st, or April 2021 through March 2022, and looking at renewing the lease and changing it if the parking commission and council deems to continue it beyond March of 2022.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Make a motion to authorize staff to pay the remaining balance of $11,881.34 for the April 2021 to March 2022 renewal period before the next council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Connie, are you going to make sure the parking commission is aware of this March 2022
Yes.
deadline? That if they think there is an opportunity for using other private lots and we don't need to use taxpayer dollars to lease a lot, great, but they have until March 2022 to get that done. Because right now, this decision before us is a no-brainer. We don't know what we would do with those cars if we didn't. So we need to finish this lease out for this year.
Right.
But if they come back with something, we need to know in concrete what it's going to be in March
Yes.
2022.
I will pass it along. And I think that's kind of when they first said, let's cancel it, and made that recommendation, it was like, well, we got a lot of work to do. You know, it was kind of like, let's pay it this year, let's use this year to figure out what we're going to do. And, you know, and I think they realized that after they made their first recommendation, so.
Mhm.
I would actually encourage them to set a deadline of, say, December, because it's gonna take a while to negotiate our way out of the lease and just in general
Mhm.
implement whatever plan.
Mhm. We will do that.
Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Refund of 2021 nuisance assessment for property ID 412409998.
So, whenever a property is going to be sold, we often get what do I want to call? Hold on here, let me find the thing. We get an assessment search on the property. We respond to them with outstanding assessments as well as pending assessments. When we do assessments, we go from September 1st through the following August. And so this property had several outstanding nuisance assessments payable for 2016 through 2020. They were over $2,000. What staff failed to do was we did not put the pending assessments that were going to be on the tax roll for 2021 because of the dates that they were. I assumed that they were going to be they were already payable on the 2020 taxes. When we go through the whole process of hearing and they can come and contest their assessments or whatever, the county had not updated the records that the property was sold, and so therefore all the notices went to the old property owner and not the new property owner, so the new property owner did not have time to contest those assessments. The new property owner has complied. There's been no more citations issued on this property. He paid all of the outstanding assessments. I broke down what basically the assessments for 2021 are $866.36. There was $850 worth of citation plus $1,636 of interest. There were 6 citations of $125 apiece for property maintenance, and then a $100 abatement invoice for grass mowing. And like I said, they were all issued in that September 2019 through October 2019 timeframe. I assume that they were on the payroll because I had to go back so far and look at this roll.
Are they done up there?
The franchise agreement's all passed.
Oh, okay, I was
Yep.
coming back for that.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
So Mr. Giles basically got his taxes and went, what happened here? Why is this on my assessment roll? I did not realize this. Again, staff did not notify them as pending assessments, and so staff felt that since it was our mistake, our error, and that he has complied with it, that we should refund his 2021 nuisance payable in the amount of $866.36.
Question, has he paid his second half taxes already?
He has not.
So is this 866 just the first half, or is it covering both halves?
That would cover both halves.
So he'll pay just the full amount due in October?
Right, because we don't have time to send him a revised property tax statement.
Yep.
So in order for him not to be delinquent, he would have to pay both of them and then we would refund it. And I would say that we refund it all right now, because that's not fair for him to have to come up with
It's
those
$800,
expenses.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
So that's the backstory behind this property. I apologize for my error. It was in June of last year and it
So
happened.
can we use CARES Act money to?
The new CARES Act does not qualify for this. Maybe it would, but
That's funny.
finance director had a blurb. I don't know what we could say, but yes, I apologize.
Okay, Tiffany.
I move that we authorize staff to refund the 2021 nuisance payable in the amount of $866.36 to the property owner of PID 412409998.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to refund the nuisance charges. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Brings us to the 12th and final item on our agenda. You can take as much time as you want, Connie. They're done upstairs. We've missed it all. The American Rescue Plan update.
So the act was signed into law on March 11th. There's several different provisions that could impact the city. One is the fiscal recovery funds portion provision, which is about $350 billion of the total act. What this does is it gives a direct allocation to the city. The city is considered a non-entitlement unit, so that means that we will get our money through the state. The state had 60 days from the date it received its funding to distribute to those NEUs. However, there's a 30-day extension, and our state has applied already for that 30-day extension. So we're looking at about that is not right. We're looking at about 90 days or so until we get our money. We don't even know how we can apply for that. The amount that the city is receiving is still unknown. Minnesota received $376 million of the $19.53 billion that was allocated for the NEUs. It's a whole lot of money and a whole lot of zeros. The NEUs, the non-NEUs are getting 50% allocation right away, with the other 50% to come within 1 year. For costs to be eligible, it must be incurred beginning on or after March 3rd, 2021. There is an exception for premium pay. The deadline to obligate the funds, so to say that this is how we're going to use them, is December 31st, 2024, with the deadline to expend the funds being December 31st, 2026. So if we go enter into a contract, that contract isn't executed or complete by the December 31st, 2024, we have 2 more years to spend those funds on a contract. There's generally 4 broad categories of expending the funds, with the public health and economic impacts, which is pretty much like what we had before. Premium pay for essential workers that are on the front lines. This can go back. There's a limit that they can be paid per hour as well as an amount per year. This can go back and look to the beginning of the pandemic. The city can also can authorize grants for other entities that have those essential workers for that premium pay. One of the big categories that's different than what the CARES is the revenue loss. There's a lot of gray area around this category yet, but they're looking at a 12-month period. They're looking at a 4.1% growth allocation, assumes that all lost revenue is due to COVID. It cannot be used for everything. For example, it's not allowed for debt service or to increase your fund balance. But one of the things that the other area...
Nuisance abatement?
Maybe. Maybe. Well, I'll look into that game to cover my butt. Yes, I will. The fourth category is investment in infrastructure, specifically water and sewer infrastructure and broadband infrastructure. So that doesn't include roads, but you can go back and use that revenue replacement loss on roads. So there's a way that we can get it funded there. There were some ineligible uses. Some of those don't even apply to us.
So can we just allocate $400,000 to the wastewater fund? Distribution system? We spend $400,000 a year, can we just put that $400,000 instead of using tax?
I think we could, yes. I would, based on what I know, I would say yes.
And that would just free up $400,000 in the general fund for whatever.
But we don't pay that there, so are you talking like the water or?
The wastewater, our distribution, our sanitary sewer system, yes.
Yes, we could use it to make some infrastructure improvements into that. Because we try to do $400,000 a year of capital infrastructure. I think we could use that as long as we're not getting state aid funds or other federal dollars for those projects as well. So that is one way, yes. We know that there's going to be reporting requirements. We don't know yet what that reporting requirements are. We think they'll be quarterly. The biggest takeaway that we have is to take the time to think broadly and strategically. The city has until December 31st, 2024 to obligate the funds, and so entities are being encouraged to collaborate to tackle projects and local issues when there's proper agreements in place. There are several provisions of the ARP Act that funding might be available for local governments as well, and we want to make sure that we are maximizing all our funding opportunities. So we'll continue to learn more about how the funds can be used, and then I think when we learn more about it, I think that we would recommend having a council workshop to go over so we all understand all aspects of it. Okay. It's interesting that the comment right now is only an interim U.S. Treasurer rules, and it'll be at least August before those are finalized. So.
That'll probably change too.
Yes.
Right, they're 120 days. Don't you do?
Yes.
Yeah, I imagine our governor will not be releasing any funds to rural Minnesota until he gets his needs in the budget, in the special session budget talks.
Because
That's what he did with the CARES Act.
There's also like economic development funds, there's also PPP grants, I mean, there is all kinds of stuff. I mean, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit.
And we still don't know the amount. We're thinking it might be around 1.5 million, but there have been various numbers thrown out.
We've heard 2.5 one time, we've heard 1 million, I mean, it's all over the place. And of course, it'll be subject to the single audit requirements and all that
I've
sort
been
of
fighting
stuff.
about that for months.
Yep. So that was just informational.
No action required. We leave the 12th item on the agenda. Is there a 13th item? Anything we didn't cover tonight that we'd like to?
Just
man.
giving
Yeah, I
you a
think
heads
now
up.
that Mike has a deputy chief in place starting tomorrow, he can take tomorrow off. Just let the deputy chief deal with it.
We have a meeting. Gotta get him up to
Should I make that a motion?
You wanna, I'll go golf.
Yep, I do. So
Good luck.
just to let you know, our first union has contacted us to start negotiations for 2022. We were going to try to meet with them in July, that didn't work out, so our first meeting is on August 4th.
Well, who are these high achievers?
The LELS union, police officers.
Oh, yeah, they are our best union.
Oh yeah, that's true, we don't have one of them.
We're adjourned?
We're adjourned.